Welcome into the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Avalanche podcast, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. We got Eric, we got Giz, we got Rudo coming to you live from the DNVR studios, aka the Toyota Lounge, as I already said. We're talking about our newest member. If you didn't watch yesterday's show, the new man on the DNVR Avalanche beat, Gismo, ready to dig in and have a bunch of fun about Avalanche prospects, I guess, is our first real thing that we'll get into. But yeah, we'll get to know you a little bit today. Before we do, though, I don't know if this is really news, but I had a question for you guys because I saw yesterday Tyson Barrie signs a PTO. Yeah. Not with the Avs. I forget who it was. St. Louis?
Calgary.
Oh, it was Calgary. That's right. Calgary. It was Calgary, yeah. And today, Dominic Kubalik ends up signing in Switzerland. So it's getting into September. It's getting to that time where players got to start making decisions on if they want to get contracts or do PTOs or what they want to do. My question is, I'm sure the Avs will sign some PTOs, whatever. Are the Avs serious about adding another player? Do they feel like they have a roster spot they need to fill? Or do you think the Avs are just going to kind of sign some guys and see what happens?
I was talking to AJ this morning, and that's the beauty of PTOs, right? I think that if you're... A guy might look good on paper, because you've kind of liked him over the years.
Tyson Barrie, Kubalik, those are great names.
Those are great names.
I loved Kubi when he was in Chicago. He was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
When I saw that this morning, I was like, whoa.
Well,
times change fast.
But that's a decision you make too as a player, right? It's like, hey, what do I have on the table? Do I want to go Kiviranta style last year, fight for a contract? Worked out for him, right? Doesn't always work out for guys. You had Phil Kessel last year that's kind of, was waiting, and then all of a sudden goes to, Vancouver's farm team, and, then they end up not giving him a contract or whatever it is, right?
Yep.
You're at the crossroads at some point in your career as a veteran player, but that's the beauty of PTOs because you're not bound to anything. So it's more like, I've always said, as long as in the front office you're honest with the player, because usually you're dealing with a veteran type player. You don't want to lead him the wrong way. You also don't want to have that name behind it in the sense that people say you're full of crap and all that kind of stuff. And because you have another situation like that the year after, you have the same agent, and then they're like, you know what, we're not dealing with Colorado. These guys aren't. That's not the case here. I think CMAC and the crew have always been up front and. Just take Zach Parise last year, for example, things like that, right? But we're talking strictly PTOs. The beauty of PTOs is you're not bound to anything. Though the list can go on. AJ is going to have a piece out there on names and stuff like that. I don't know if he released it or he's about to release it, but I don't want to spoil the names. But use Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. I might have liked Pierre-Edouard Bellemare 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
I did.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah.
Where is he at today? Yeah. I don't know. So, I've always said, because I felt that I've lived it too, you hit a certain age, you hit a certain time in your career, post all the injuries you've had or whatever situations you've had, and you might be at a point where you can't help in National Hockey League team that's aspiring to win the whole thing, Colorado Avalanche, right? So that's why PTOs are good. It lets you see in those preseason games, in those preseason practices, let your coach feel it, and where is this guy? Could he help us right now? The notion or the reality or whatever you want to, the dream of, let's say, Bellemare. I'm giving you an example, like. It come crashing down quickly once you realize, man, this guy can't play anymore. And I've seen it. I've seen it in training camps all those years. Every year there's always... And unfortunately, it's like anything else in life. Sometimes your career comes to an end, and you just can't help. So I think PTOs, Avs are going to have to look into it. We talked to it at length all summer. about like a 4C type deal. And I know Chris Wagner is there, and I know he's skating in Boston and getting himself ready to go, and he's on a two-way. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But would they be able to upgrade? I've always said I'd like for them to upgrade. I think you were on the same boat. Internally, what do they have that can do that job? I think it's pretty slim.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. I think the pro scouting staff, CMAC and the crew will have to be really sharp on what's coming from other teams on depth charts and what might be going through waivers. And again, people, it's easy to say, oh, just pick a guy on waivers. Yeah, I know. There's also 31 other teams that, can put a claim in, right? So it's
there's been some diamonds that have come out of PTOs, though.
100%.
Tyson Berry could be one of those this season.
Yep.
David Booth was another guy who was kind of sort of trickled up and down, and then he did his PTO at, I think it was with the Wings initially, maybe, but because he was at Michigan State, and then it was like, wow, okay, great. Like you got a little bit of gas out of the tank that maybe some other people overlooked, and then. I mean, listen, like we said yesterday, the NHL is an incredibly hard league to A, get into, and then B, stay in for long, long times. That's why it's such a huge deal when guys play thousands of games for 1,000 games for the same organization or just even in their career. So I like the PTOs, and I think that you'd be an idiot if you don't look at them or at least see what's out there or give a guy a professional tryout opportunity. I mean, that's what PTO is. I mean, it's an opportunity to be like, hey, I still got a little bit left in the tank.
And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
It's like anything else, right? So I think it's important as a staff, as an organization, to have a few of those because they're freebies. They're freebies in a sense that if they both make sense, right? For the player and for the team. You know what I mean? You don't just bring someone on PTO for fun and you have no room. Then it's like, what are you doing? Then first of all, fire your agent or fire yourself, because what are you doing? I'm sure there's other teams that could use your services. So, but I think it's important. I think it's important to go in there not blindfolded. You know what I mean? Like you want to go there with open eyes and know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And, I've seen it over the years. I mean, many times it works out, and I've seen it where all of a sudden it's like sometimes you owe it to yourself too as a player. Sure. Like I want to give it one more shot. And then you just know you're in training camp and you're like, fuck. I don't belong, man.
It's got to be humbling, though, too. It's got to be humbling.
It is humbling. It is humbling. And then you're like, all right, I gave it my best shot. And then you don't live with regrets. You know what I mean? And you worked hard all summer. You put yourself in a position to win a job, and then it doesn't work out. And then you got to remember, 31 other teams can also, grab you. You don't belong to anyone. And people have seen you for 1, 2, or 3 preseason games, and they're like, I think it's behind them. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's humbling. But at least mentally, you are where you are. Or, wow, I still got it. You know what I mean? And it's great. And I can help a team. And sometimes I've seen it before. All of a sudden, that team's not really giving you a deal. They're messing around. But all of a sudden, another team comes and like, hey, you know what? Have they given you a deal yet? Well, I'll give you a deal. I mean, that's kind of a little bush leagueish, but you can do it. You don't belong to anyone. So it's all good.
Yeah. It'd be interesting once the Avs make some decisions on that front. But we'll see exactly how it plays out in 3 weeks, I guess. Less than 3 weeks. So.
And AJ's putting that piece together. He's going to have like 6 of them that, are possible dark horses, and I love that.
Yeah. You have to go check that out on thednvr.com when it goes up. So make sure you go see who AJ's picks are for potential PTOs for the Avs. The other bit of Avs news today, the rookie faceoff roster officially announced. Pretty similar to their rookie stuff they did earlier in the year, but names to watch at the rookie faceoff include Oscar Olsson, Andre Pavel, Jason Poland. All 3 of those played NHL games last year. So those guys, very interesting. Of course, Cal Ritchie will be there. Sean Behrens will be there. A number of other Avalanche prospects, including Max Karan from this year's draft, Nikita Prishapov from this year's draft. You also have Matt Steinberg in there. A handful of other guys, too. Chase Bradley will be there.
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be interesting because that was someone the Avs went out and got this offseason from the college free agent group.
And not 18 years old.
Yeah, not 18 as well. Yeah, so it'll shape up. We'll talk a little bit more about the rookie face-off stuff next week since, it actually happens next week. But honestly, there have been some years with this rookie face-off for the Avs where they just send a bunch of dudes and you're like, oh boy, that is a roster, all right. But there are some pretty interesting ones here, both on the prospect level and guys that are kind of competing for NHL jobs when you talk about guys like Pavel and Poland.
On the flip side of what we were just talking about PTOs, then you're talking about guys that trying to win a job, trying to win a contract,
They're
trying to make
the
a
beginning
life.
of it, not the end of it. Right?
Yeah, and
You're
it's
trying to hit the lottery.
And we'll talk about it this week, but it's so funny because in the net, as you guys know, I love the goaltending position, but they're not 18.
Yeah,
they're not
crowded.
18 at the tournament next week. They're a little bit older, which is great.
Yep.
It's a little great.
So it'll be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it, doing all the rookie face-off stuff and kicking off our season kind of again next weekend, really. But that'll be fun. That's all the real news I had for today as far as the Avs are concerned. So let's get into our actual topic. Gismo. You've been doing this job for a little while. I mean, not this job, but you've been around the NHL for, 20 years now?
Gosh, yeah. It's been 29 years as I can't believe it, actually. 29 years as a broadcaster. That started in hockey and took a little bit of a wayward path, and I was covering the Olympics for a long time, for about 13 years with NBC Sports Network, the Olympic Channel, and Universal Sports, and then luckily found my way back into the NHL. It's been about 9 years now covering just the NHL across 3 different teams, and love still kind of contributing and being a part of the NHL network. But it's been fun. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. I made some amazing friends out of it, including that guy on that far side over there. And we were together in Vegas, and it's been a fun journey. And I'm excited about this next chapter too. I mean, this is great with you guys.
I think I might know where this question is going, but we got to get it out of the way on this show.
Oh no, I knew this was coming. First off,
was it your favorite hockey team growing up?
my favorite hockey team was not the Detroit Red Wings.
Okay, all right.
So I did grow up in Detroit. Admittedly, I was born in Detroit. Proud to be from Detroit, but grew up in a town called Plymouth. Played my youth and minor and hockey there all the way up until I got injured when I was 15, 16 years old. And luckily, my high school had a radio station. Plymouth-Salem High School had a 88.1 FM WSDP Plymouth, about as literally low as you can go on the FM dial. And if you maybe got outside of the parking lot of the high school, it was
a little tough to pick up.
A little fussy. But I started doing radio and wrote for the high school paper. And about, I was I was probably my junior year. Started covering games in the Ontario Hockey League. We had an OHL team in town, the Plymouth Whalers. And I came on, and I was the announcer for the Whalers as a junior in high school, traveling all over Canada, calling games on Fox Sports Radio, and then was writing for the local paper. And from there, it was a job that started as maybe a joke amongst my teammates, trying to riz me to get into calling games because I would, listen, if we were winning we had a pretty good hockey team when I was growing up.
Calling games from the bench.
I was calling games from the bench a little bit when we were up by a bunch of goals. My coach said as long as we were up by 3 goals, I could mess around and call games. So I'd sit there and I'd lean along the boards, and I was our captain. So I just sort of kind of had fun, loosened the boys up, called some games, and it turned into a career that I'm so thankful for. It's given me so much. Yeah, I love hockey, love the game.
You won't find any objections to that take here.
Right?
There's no doubt about that. It's I gotta ask, who was your favorite hockey team? At least, obviously now I'm sure it's different, but
it was the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Okay,
and I picked it based on my younger brother Gavin. He was a huge Detroit Red Wings fan, and I was like, well, we gotta have a little rivalry in the house here, right? Like we can't both be Wings fans. And so I was a huge Pittsburgh Penguins fan. My brother's room, my mom and dad are the most amazing people on the planet, but my brother's room was all Red Wings. Had the trash can and the posters and the wallpaper, and mine was all Pittsburgh Penguins because I was just the biggest Mario Lemieux fan.
It's a good choice.
But I've never met Mario Lemieux, by the way, though. So at one of these days, I've met some amazing people in hockey. I've done some incredibly cool things and been to some amazing places, but my hockey hero growing up was 66, and I've never met the man. So one of these days, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen sooner or later, right?
I mean, it's only been like 9 years or something, but we'll get there.
Eventually, it will happen. Maybe what you need to do to meet him is get a little bit better shape. Not that I don't want to. You look like you're in great shape.
Well, I
to be
could probably
honest,
use a few pounds. It's been a rough summer.
Well, if you're looking
Do you
to,
have an idea for me? Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I'd love to hear
know?
it. Yeah.
You can get with UC Health and their Ready Set Co program.
There you go.
Make sure you get Chief Motivational Officer Coach Prime on the case. He's also the chief, many different officers, whether it be the motivational officer or the mental health officer, you name it. Coach Prime got you with UC Health when it comes to Ready Set Co. The Ready Set Co program, the whole idea is just to get Colorado a little bit healthier, get us back to being the healthiest state in the country. So make sure you jump on it. Make sure you're part of the Ready Set Co program. Join people like me. Gizmo might need to be putting on pounds. I need to take off some pounds. So
Second that.
we got
You guys look good.
two different plans a little bit on the Avalanche beat for our healthy plan. But either way, Ready Set Co can help you with whatever it is, including that mental health side too. If you want to join the Ready Set Co program, you can click the link in the show's description or go to uchealth.org/ReadySetCo today. And once you're starting to get a little bit healthier, maybe you want to go out on the trails, maybe you want to go for a little day trip somewhere, make sure you're driving over there in your Toyota. You can get them at your Front Range Toyota dealerships. They're the official vehicle of DNVR, and they've got a vehicle for everyone, whether it be the Tundra truck, they've got the RAV4 SUV, they've got the Corolla sedan, they've got electric vehicles, they've got 17 different all-wheel drives, you name it, Toyota's got you covered, top to bottom, when it comes to whatever your next vehicle might be. Once again, you can get them at your Front Range Toyota stores. And they're not just our official vehicle. They're the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche, too. So go get one today at your local Toyota store, including Auto Nation, Toyota, Arapahoe, and Centennial. Almost got there in time. Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood for that official vehicle of DNVR. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast.
I love the love.
Blake Wheeler in the chat wants to know what Gizmo's handicap is.
She fluctuates. It's a little bit up and down right now, but I'm currently sitting at about a 7-1. So I had a couple good rounds the last few weeks, but it can be a 7, it could be a 9. It really just depends. I played this past weekend and I played really well. I was trying to keep up with my nephew, who's an absolute stick. And I was in the 70s, so I was pretty happy about that. But it could easily be, I could shoot a 95 also.
Are we talking about putt-putt or real golf?
Oh, we're talking about real golf.
I
We're talking about real golf.
I got you. I just making sure.
You've seen me play. You're a good golfer.
No, was.
It was definitely my second favorite sport. For me, it can be stressful, but I love being on the golf course. I love being out having fun.
Why is hockey and why is golf the second sport of so many hockey players? How did this happen?
Movements are the same.
Yeah,
core.
It's similar enough.
Yeah,
all right.
I think it's a challenge,
sure.
Right? You know what I mean? I love it because you're outside and it's like, oh my god, you just grab your clubs and go.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I suck right now, so
my handicap's like an 18, so I'm not any good either.
I'll drive the friggin' cart. There you go. I'll drive you around. I'll caddy for you. No big deal. Enjoy playing? No, because I stink. But I think it's just guys that are. It's such you don't have. I think you don't have time during the year to do it really, and it's like and I think summertime it's more. You still get a challenge. You can still compete with friends, and you know what I mean. And then you get out there and it's fun and it's relaxing and it just changes your mind a little bit. And
yeah, I mean it's fun for the guys in the summer. Keeps them in shape a little bit. Yeah. I mean there's not many hockey players that I know that aren't golfers. I feel like almost every single guy that plays hockey golf.
Yeah, that's why it feels like everyone does. That's why it's weird.
I had a dream summer, just to change the subject back then. But
here we go.
I had a dream summer, like my first year pro. I went back home to Montreal. That's my last time I lived at home. But Vinny Danfus was one of our neighbors, Montreal Canadiens. So Vinny and I would get up in the morning. We'd freaking go play 18, one course, right to the gym, work out for a couple hours. Get to the freaking other course, have lunch, play another 18. Did that like 5 days a week. It was awesome.
Must be nice.
But again, no wife, no kids, at the time, no commitments of that sort. Just, work out and all that stuff. But it was such a fun summer. If you like golf, I mean, like I said, then kids got in the way and, pounds got in the way of my swing and, all that stuff. So.
Look, I like golf, but I was never in shape enough to play golf, work out, and go play more golf. All right.
I loved it. It was so fun.
I like the 30. I've done a couple of 36-hole days. lately, and it's
awesome.
just fun for me. And Brecklin makes a good point. I'm actually better the more that number
you got to have
grows
some
up.
swing juice for
yeah,
sure.
There's a little bit of swing lube in there, no question about it. Yeah.
I sometimes it feels like some of these new kids, the younger generation, they're like into pickleball and
Yeah.
Pickleball's getting huge.
Yeah, I know,
Huge
that's-
right now.
I played pickleball for the first time this weekend.
So Yaya knows. How'd we do?
I beat my wife. Not that hard of a task, but I did it.
Don't
Might
say
not
that
have been
phrase
the
again.
smartest
Yeah,
play.
I got shut out by my 14-year-old.
be careful
so
saying
it's
that
fine.
phrase.
I defeated my wife.
There you go.
I got beat by Ty, my youngest. Like
Yeah.
I got shut out by him. I move like an elephant right now, so it's not really good. It's not very fast. Pickleball.
The chat wants to move
pickleball.
into a little bit of the rest of your career here, Giz. with
Yeah.
Keith asking, what was your time like in Seattle? I moved here from Denver in 2022, and I've had a hard time figuring it out as a hockey town.
Figuring out, Keith, figuring out Denver as a hockey town or Seattle as a hockey
Seattle,
town.
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, you know, Seattle was a weird one a little bit. I've kind of been in the spot where I've been with two brand new franchises. I was with the Vegas Golden Knights when they first came into the league, and that experience was amazing. I mean, that town adopted that team, and that team adopted that fan base, and it was lights out. It was incredible. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing the logo.
Yep.
And if you worked for the team, I mean, I don't know if Eric and I could still walk down the street in Vegas without people that they gormandized it. They loved it. Seattle was different. I don't know why. The arena was unbelievable. Climate Pledge was cool. It was in a really, really cool area. They did it the right way. It was first class all the way with the way the Oakview group did it. But, yeah, I mean, the arena was always full, and the hockey fans were knowledgeable. But I felt like outside of that, like the city didn't really just like fall in love with it. So it was weird, which is strange to me because they had hockey teams before. The Silvertips are there. And now I guess it's gotten better, but it blew me away that Vegas attached themselves so big and learned the game so quickly. And then it was kind of a slower burn for the Kraken. But I loved being there. I mean, I had a wonderful time. I had an incredible broadcast team. I mean, getting to work with John Forsland was, dream come true for me. I mean, he's been one of my close friends for a long time, and then to finally be able to be on the air with him was super cool. I mean, that guy, Forsey's going to be a Foster Hewitt recipient at some point in his career, going into the Hockey Hall of Fame as a broadcaster, and I just, it was cool introducing teams to a fan base and sort of being the conduit between what was happening on the ice and what was happening to them.
I imagine it's tough. You look at Vegas and Seattle. There's the obvious difference in the expansion drafts where teams lost their minds for the Vegas one. But beyond that, for Vegas, that was their first real
pro team
of the highest level, at least. I know they had the Wranglers in like the ECHL or whatever. Whereas Seattle already had the Seahawks weren't there anymore, but for a long time they had the Supersonics in the NBA. I do wonder how much that changed the outlook or made it why Vegas attached so much to that Golden Knights team as opposed to Seattle, who had maybe other teams that they already rooted for.
Yeah, and Eric, you were there with me. I mean, I feel like Vegas really just made themselves about the community. I mean, the Knights organization did such a great job of connecting the dots and making everybody feel like they were one team, fans and players and everybody.
And if you go back, and it might sound wrong what I'm going to say, but I think the tragedy of a few days before opening, it did. Like, I lived in Vegas for a while. Vegas was thirsty, needed something like that, like something to call its own.
Vegas born.
You know what I mean? Like it needed to call something, and I think the Golden Knights came in at the right time. Now you got the Raiders and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure the NBA will follow, but Vegas was. When you talk to people, it's a wonderful place to live. I loved it. My wife loved it. Kids loved it. They love to say that they lived in Vegas for 4 or 5 years. But when you talk to people, they always talk about the Strip. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the Strip. And it's like, there's communities out there. There's wonderful people that live there, hardworking people.
Yep.
And I think that the team came in with open arms, meaning like by the people, not by the visitors, but by the locals. And it's a big deal in Vegas, locals. And tragedy strikes, few days later, everybody, like the community, just got behind it,
Yeah.
and everybody, and that just kind of, it was so sad. And then they won that first road trip, like a few games, and you're like, holy crap, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like people are like, oh my god, and then they start believing in themselves, the Misfits, and right, you know,
Yep.
like all
Derek
that.
England's speech.
The
before
speech, oh
the
my God.
first- I mean, I had chills.
Google that.
I had
Google that.
chills.
Go
Chills.
look at that speech beforehand. Derek England, what a freaking job he did.
It was
that day.
unbelievable.
You know, it was amazing.
One of the
And
coolest sports moments of my life.
it was the opening night. Like that's why I said it's wrong what I'm saying, because it's about a tragedy and it's about so many lost lives and everything. But it was unbelievable, and I think it's stuck with the players. It's stuck with management. It's stuck with the fans, and it's stuck with to this day. You know, the community. So I think that might be a little bit of the difference why we're talking about Vegas and, you know, for example, Seattle or Vegas,
Yeah.
you know, the way it started, you know.
And Vegas has got a special place in my heart because it was my first job specifically with an NHL team. And I made so many great friends out of it. Our producer was a guy named Braden Greiser. He was brilliant at his job. Ali Lozoff, Mayday. I mean, it was just this really unbelievably wonderful team. And you know, I'm not just saying it because I'm here right now, but it's the same vibe with this again. It's just, it feels like home. You feel super comfortable. I think my favorite thing, just to put a button on Vegas, aside from the people, was the community. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, I never felt more loved in my life walking down the street. I mean, it was as if we were on the roster. People wanted to talk to you. They wanted to gush about the team. They wanted to pick your brain. And my favorite thing is in the third period, everybody would always complain, oh, it's probably going to be all casino people, and they're going to buy up all this stuff, and locals aren't going to be able to get a ticket. They would do this thing where they would ask the crowd, if you're right-handed, raise your hand, and the crowd would cheer. If you're left-handed, cheer.
Yep.
If you're blonde, you know, blah, blah, blah. And the last one they did was, if you're a tourist, scream. And you'd get a... And then it was like, if you're a local, scream. And the roof,
Yeah.
the wood come off of that building.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, oh, statement.
Yep.
Very cool.
Awesome.
That was very cool.
Only city I've been in where I think I was there in 2018 when this happened, so they were pretty new. But you get into the Uber. Every Uber we took in town where we were there is like they want to talk about the Vegas Golden
100%.
Knights. Like
Oh, it was awesome.
compared to here, where half the time you get into an Uber and they're like, they're the hockey team. The Avs are the hockey team, right? Not that. Don't get me wrong. Denver's a great hockey city, but it was crazy how much that city rallied around the Golden Knights.
Well, you
So,
couldn't go anywhere without a Vegas Golden Knights logo in an airport, in a gas station, in every casino,
License
plates. I mean, you name it. And then I was sitting in a sports bar. I was sitting in a sports bar in Seattle, and I had a Kraken hat on, and the guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, is that our hockey team?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "The Kraken, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "What league is that again?" I'm like, "It's the NHL." He goes, "Oh, right on." I go, "Yeah, they got jerseys and everything." I had to hit him with the major league.
Got
line.
him. You did work at a couple of other places as well recently, obviously with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
And then also directly through NHL Network.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, of all of your hockey jobs, which one is your favorite?
Besides this one.
Yeah, besides this one, it's the two. It's they all have different meanings to me, right? I think Vegas is always going to be special because, like I said, it was, so it was. You always remember your first, and I
Yep.
think that was special. Chicago was cool because it's an original six, and it's
Yeah.
Chicago. And again, I go back to the people in the town and the organization, right? Like they took amazingly wonderful care of me and my family. I felt welcomed right from the moment I walked off the plane in Chicago, and I got to work with Pat Foley and Eddie Olczyk. I mean, I remember being on air for the first time in Chicago, and Edzo tossing it down to Gismo, and Pat Foley making a fun comment, and I'm like, whoa, like okay, standing in the United
this is
Center,
legit, yeah.
I'm like this is cool. And then NHL Network, that is such a hardworking group of people. It behind the scenes, you just don't know what that group does, and I tip my hat to Josh Bernstein, the EP, and Steve Trenzano, and just Jamison Coyle and Lauren and Jackie and just Tony Luffman. They all do such an unreal job, and they work so hard there to put out such great content. So you can't beat a job in hockey. I don't
Amen
think
to
it
that.
necessarily matters where you're at or what you're doing, but it's that brotherhood, and it extends not only from the guys, but it extends to the people covering the team, and there's just such a passion for it. But I'm super excited about this because it's back in the locker room. It's back hanging out with the boys. It's back talking hockey like this with you guys, and just
It's the good stuff.
smelling the ice, listening to a Zamboni, getting some of those fumes, being in a locker room. That's what I love the most.
Love it. Can't wait to actually get it ramped up this year.
Yeah, we're not
with
far
the
away.
Avs. I can't come fast enough. Can it
with
be
you.
October 9th
I'm
tomorrow?
with you.
Well, let's go. Let's get this going.
I know.
Even if the season, yeah, that's the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Even if the season isn't here yet, you can still throw some bets down with Bet365. I think they have the Avs boosted right now, plus 1,200 to win the Cup this year. If you want to go crazy with a bet like that, you can do it with Bet365. And maybe you'll be more likely to have some fun, crazy bets when you sign up with the code DNVR365 and bet $5 on anything. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets. So,
Are we allowed to bet? Can we bet?
oh, yeah.
Oh, let's go.
We have a betting segment on our pregame show. So
Fantastic.
I always throw some bets down, and I'll hit a couple big ones and then bleed it all away throughout
Okay.
the rest of the season. So,
right.
there's some give and take there. But when it's free money, you
free
might as
money.
well go off with it. Jump on with Bet365. Again, be sure to use that DNVR365 code. Get the QR code on screen to download their app today. And when you do gamble with Bet365, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Once you've got your bets in, of course, maybe you win a couple. Maybe you want to spruce up the house a little bit. Maybe you want things to look a little bit better. Get with Empire today and get yourself some new floors. Giz, I got to ask you.
Oh, boy.
Because I'm the weirdo here with floors. I'm a carpet guy.
Okay.
I like carpet.
Yeah.
Are you a carpet guy, hardwood guy like most people, I imagine?
Yeah, I'm hardwood in most areas. I I ironically need to get hardwood put in my living room
There you
area.
go.
But when it comes to bedroom and like those softer areas, I like carpet.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm full
Cushy.
on carpet.
Yeah,
I
cushy.
have weak, soft feet. I'm not a strong foot person, so I need my soft carpet. You can get either carpet or hardwood or any other flooring you're looking for with Empire today. The great part about Empire is they look at all the products and they get rid of all of those kind of not great ones. All the low quality ones, they throw those out. They only offer you the high quality products as options in the first place, so you don't have to pick through all of that and do your own research nearly as much. You can get with them today. You can use their online services, I guess.
Sure.
What do you call a thing where they allow you to have a 3D projection of the room and show the flooring? I don't know what to call that. It's too high fanciness for me. Whatever it is, you can find it at empiretoday.com/DNVR. Or, of course, you can always call them at the magic number 1-800-588-2300-EMPIRE. Get $350 off all of your floors when you let them know DNVR sent you over there.
Today.
Yep.
See, I was hoping one of you did
All
the
right,
jingle.
we'll have Eric do the jingle on the next
I can
read.
sing.
then. We'll
He
do
can
that.
sing. Voice of an angel.
Yep.
Check him out again, empiretoday.com/DNVR. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Now, I have a question for you. You don't have to have an answer ready right away, as the chat is on it as well. Everyone who comes on our show, we ask them about their bad food take. That is something that you like to eat that other people find gross. We've had lots of bad food takes.
Yeah.
Mine, mayonnaise on a burrito.
Whoa.
Yeah. Someone,
Whoa.
He's offended right now.
I forget who it was. Maybe was it
Right.
Whoa.
someone put mustard on pizza?
I don't have a drastic one. I like ketchup on my scrambled eggs.
Yeah, that's not that
Is
bad.
that bad?
I don't know that.
I think I get weird looks sometimes for that. But let me think on that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have a better one than that. But I'll think on that. I should answer Tom, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom. So I moved here in moved from Detroit to Los Angeles, where I was working for NBC Sports, and then we moved here when Comcast bought us in 2013. So I've actually lived in Colorado since 2013, all the way up until now. Even when I was with those other teams, I would just sort of be there in the wintertime. Get a furnished apartment for 6 months, but this has always been home base for me. I've got some people who are very important to me that are basically family that are here. I have an incredible friend base here. I really kind of put my roots down here, so I've never ever really left here. And off and on while being here, I've had the privilege of coaching a AAA program from time to time in the Thunderbirds, which is a real elite AAA program for youth hockey players. And then I've covered Air Force and I've covered DU and I've been around the hockey scene in Colorado for quite some time. I actually lucky enough to coach Eric's son Max for a little while, and we coached together for a bit. So, yeah, always been attached to Colorado. Don't think I'll ever leave Colorado. I like it here very, very much.
I'm never leaving. I'll tell you that.
It's incredible here. It's incredible here.
My favorite city to have ever been in.
Oh man,
But-
this is perfect.
And they have a hockey team that's pretty good too.
Pretty
so that
decent
helps.
hockey club too. Yeah, I'm definitely impressed by the boys down in Denver.
It is interesting to me because you've kind of mentioned it. You've had the opportunity to cover great teams like Vegas's first year, maybe not so good teams like Seattle's first year. When you're in the broadcasting business, how do you kind of manage that? Because look, we're DNVR. We do things a little bit differently. We lean into that fan side of a little bit more. When things are bad, we say, hey, the team sucks. When things are good, we say, hey, the team's great. There are certain broadcasts that are maybe more homer than others, but how has that been kind of balancing that across your career with different organizations?
I had 3 different versions of that.
Okay.
I had 3 very different versions of it, and it's always intriguing to me how to handle it. In Vegas, it was, hey, listen, if we're not doing well, you can say we're not doing well, but don't bash us over the head with it.
Sure.
Right? And I think we towed that line pretty good. I mean, in year 1, it was so spectacular.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
We didn't really have to. There was a couple certain instances, like the Shipashov situation, that got a little touchy that we had to dance around.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we had it pretty easy in Vegas, so there was really no tough conversations.
It was
There
more
a few.
educational too, right? You
Right.
remember, because a lot of those
Sure.
people never really watch hockey. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that was different.
So yeah, we kind of had to balance a little bit of hockey 101 with a lot of also kind of advanced knowledge. And then when I got to Chicago, it was, if we suck, say we suck and give us every single reason why we suck. There's no sugarcoating it.
Yep.
You could bash the fans over the head with it, and you would actually take a lot more flack if you did try to sugarcoat things. Like,
If you
I
praise
was
them
told,
too much, or-
yeah, I mean, I was told going into intermissions interviews where I was going to interview Jonathan Taves, and it was like, hit him with the hard questions. And I was like, okay, well, I will.
Yep.
Like, Jonathan, the power play is 0 for 4 tonight. You guys are 0 for 12 over your last 3. What do you need to do as the captain of this team to change the direction of this? And he knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And then in Seattle, it was definitely different. It was put sugar on it and make it nice. I remember there was a game early on in the season, and Grubauer was in net, and they were playing the Penguins, and he gave up 3 goals on 4 shots in the first 5 minutes. And I was like, okay.
How am I going to spin this one?
And I'm like, well, you normally see bounces like that over the course of 60 minutes, not the first 5. And I got lit up for it because guys are like, what are you talking about? Like, you would have made that save, Gismo. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So you kind of take the direction of the team a little bit. I like this environment. And then with NHL Network, you're down the middle. Like, you're the national broadcast. So whatever you see and whatever you think is what you say. You don't have to play games.
Hopefully that's how it is here too.
No, I'm not going to
We
say
try to
anything.
be realists about the Avalanche hockey team.
Yeah, I think that's good, though. I think fans understand that. I mean,
People get mad at us and say we're too homer. Meanwhile, people are also getting mad at us and saying we're anti the home team. So I think we're doing pretty decent
If
if
you're
we're getting
making-
both sides of that.
if you're making everybody happy, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Write what you see. Talk about what
Yeah,
you see.
exactly.
I think that's the
exactly
motto.
right.
Yeah, I've been around
Exactly
hockey
Yeah.
a long time. I feel like I know the game really well. I get it. I understand it. And I have a lot of friends that are playing in the NHL right now, and I think the players appreciate it being real too. They don't want you to glaze it over if you don't have to.
All right. I know you said Mario your favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
Who's your modern favorite though?
Like currently playing in the NHL.
Sure.
I
know there's like 50, but I've got to ask you the hard questions. You said it.
Yeah. All right. It's Andrei Kopitar.
Okay.
It's Andrei Kopitar from the Kings. I do love Cale Makar.
Who doesn't?
Love Cale Makar. Really hope Landy gets back. I know Gabe. I really hope he gets back because, gosh, is he fun to watch play hockey. I'm a huge Connor Bedard fan. I am. I think
Makes
he does it
sense.
the right way. And I got to give him a shout out to my boy who's moving here right now, Mr. Calvin DeHaan. He's been a favorite of mine since back in Carolina. So, but I'm a big fan of Kopitar, and I'm a big fan of Kopitar because of who he is too.
Sure.
Like, he's just an incredible human being. He does it the right way. He's a great dad. He's a big part of that team behind the scenes, and he's super, super charitable. And I really like guys that do that. I really do. Like,
Yeah.
I like the player, but I love the person.
There's always so much more to hockey.
Oh
than-
my gosh, it's the truth. And most gracious, most generous. Hockey guys are just like that. I mean, there's guys that you could call if you're in the worst trouble of your life, and they'll be like, "Okay, where am I flying to, and how much money am I bringing?"
It's the way it goes.
Yes, sir.
You've broadcasted with him for a couple years. What's your guys' favorite broadcast moment from those Vegas years?
Man, it's got to be like the first game, right? I mean, that was
I mean, you and
It
me
was-
sat next to each other, tears in our eyes.
it was quite something. I got to be honest with you.
It was intense.
I had never freaking broadcasted before. I had no idea what I'm doing.
You were great, though. You were great.
It was awesome. And I tell you one thing, we had a T-Mobile over the patio overlooking like like right outside there, like, the thousands and thousands of people. And I think Mayday was on that night too. It was you, me, Mayday, Brad May. And we got to interview Commissioner Bettman. I think that was my first interview ever. I'm like,
Followed up by Bill Foley.
yeah, which I knew, which made it easier. But I mean, it would have been intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, but it was great. And again, it had a lot to do with, we talked about it earlier, the tragedy, and then people. It was not. Everybody had tears in their eyes with that England speech, and it was phenomenal. Like, it was inspirational in a sense. You know what I mean? It was so fun, and I think that memory will always last with me forever. To be part of something like that was pretty cool. I think you and me were like, oh, all right, this is cool.
And we just met.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
we just
we'd
met,
known
yeah.
each other in passing here and there, but that was like
And
the
he
first
helped me
time.
out. He helped me out because it's like, it's a little different. Live TV, you're sitting there and you're like, oh God, like, oh my God, and then I was just like, he's like, oh, let's just have a conversation. You know what I mean? Conversation about something you love, which is hockey. That's what we do. You say it all the time, right? You're like, man, this is not a job. I get to type, talk about hocky.
It's
and
crazy that someone pays me to do this.
Get on
you guys
YouTube and break down stuff. And,
You guys getting paid? The hell? Yeah. Call my agent.
Take all the money we're out.
But you see what I'm saying? It was kind of, it was pretty cool. And Giz's family's great. Brother Gavin, military background, and then Guy, his dad, good man. And I remember, and Mrs. Gismondi too. I'm not.
King Gismondi's
Kate's
a
always
saint.
one of the, I mean,
Saint.
mothers are always the best, right? So leave it at that. But what is it that he had on the handkerchief?
I
loved it.
Be humble, not timid.
Be humble, not timid. And I was like, oh man, I love this stuff. I love it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because there's a way to play hockey, and I always say that. You got to be humble, but you can't be timid. Because if you do that, you're screwed. And I remember it was the back of the handkerchief,
Yeah,
right?
that I had in my pocket.
Yeah,
on
it
the
was
first game.
awesome. I remember it always stayed with me for a while, and again, here I am coming on live, and I can't freaking say the same, but
Nah,
it
you
kind
do
of
it, you do it.
it stuck with me for a while. So that's always going to be a good memory.
Well,
I think-
we became family right away.
Yeah.
I mean, me with your family and
Yeah.
kids, and
yeah, but I think
cool.
That sounds like he.
yeah,
yeah, we're lucky. I mean it. This is not to be sappy, whatever, but I think we're lucky. We're getting a true pro here, and I think the viewers are going to love Giz, and everybody's already in love with Rudo. I mean, the big teddy
can you
bear. How
not?
can you not love the guy? And then, and AJ's still part of it. So, I mean, AJ's a big part of our
Love
our
talking with
beat.
AJ.
AJ is maybe not behind the camera, but he's still here, and he's going to be a big part of our stuff.
Article just went live, so
There you
There
go.
you go. Let's
We're gonna
go.
keep talking about, and
Teased
he's
it
always
up.
a menace too on the
Teased
freaking.
it up.
He's always a menace
Yeah.
on the chat. So if you're on the chat, he's always jumping on being a menace. So we have a great team. I'm looking forward to it, and And again, Tiff behind the scenes and Yaya and whoever, Kale, whoever's with us, Alyssa, you said it. People that do the work behind the scenes is very important on hockey teams, on sports teams, but obviously here at DNVR and any broadcast that there's always people behind the scenes. So can't forget about those people. If at the end of the day, shows don't work if you don't have knowledgeable people. So I think Giz understands that. Obviously, Ruda and I understand that. But as the newcomer of our beat, you know what I mean? I think we're lucky and we're getting a true pros pro and looking forward to it. Looking forward to a lot of good stuff this year. And I think we're excited talking about all that stuff starting next week. And I think that if we, nail anything we're talking about, it's going to be an unbelievable year.
All right. I know you just said be humble, but what was it like to win an Emmy?
I mean, that was special. That's special. Again, that goes back to just such a great team of people around you. Just like a game of hockey that's not individual. I mean, you gotta have everybody doing it the right way. You gotta have the camera guys have got to be dialed. The audio guys have got to be sharp. I mean, everybody in the pre-planning and the producers, and then your broadcast partners, your teammates, they got to be moving you the puck, and you got to be moving it back. And when it all comes together, and it's so hard to come together. I mean, God, I've been doing this for a long time, and there was a couple of real lead-up heartbreak moments, but when it finally broke through, and you hear your name called for something like that, you are humbled by it because it's your peers voting on it, and it's them sort of saying, hey, great job, man. Like, you really did a good job out there. And I'm an emotional, sensitive guy. I'm Italian, so that sort of drives me a little bit. So, winning the Emmy was one of the kindest, biggest pats on the back, two-armed Italian hugs I've ever gotten, and I got it from people who I look up to and respect in the business. And it was fun. It was really, really cool. I kind of don't remember a lot of it. I kind of blanked out a smidge. I didn't even have anything written down because I had two other cracks at it and didn't win. And I thought, well, we're gonna go probably gonna go over 3 or 4 here before we pop off a victory. And we ended up getting one, and it was just it was cool having family there and just celebrating with everybody. It was fun.
Glad you won one. I don't think you're going to be winning any on a YouTube show. Unfortunately,
you never know.
You
never know. We'll see what we can do.
If you get us an Emmy, that would be a Herculean effort.
All right. Well, they never say never, right?
We have to get YouTube videos nominated for Emmys to start, so might be a ways to go.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But no, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to.
Thank you.
A super exciting year. I don't take this seriously, chat. Don't get mad at me, but. What's it like knowing you're about to cover your first Stanley Cup champion?
I love that. You know what?
I thought we weren't biased.
I mean, I have been a part of 2 Stanley Cup celebrations in my life as a friend, and it is insane. And I think it's cool covering sports because I watch hockey so many different ways. Like, you can watch it as a coach. You can watch it as a player. You can watch it as a broadcaster. You can watch it as a fan, at least from my perspective. Those are the roles I've always sort of played. Watching your friends win Stanley Cups is unreal. It would be super cool to be doing it as the team that you're covering because you get involved. You get ingrained. You can't not. Like, there's emotion behind this. Nobody's unbiased. Like, you have your proclivities. You have your love. You have your you fall in love. And when you're in the locker room and living the highs and lows with these guys day in and day out, like you do when you're covering a team specifically. Same I felt in Vegas. Same I felt in Chicago. Same I felt in Seattle. You're rooting for them. You want to see them win. I want to see the Avs win every single hockey game this year. And if they were to be able to culminate it and win the Cup again this year, whoo, smokes. Don't look for much from me after the game. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do my job for a while. But the champagne and beer are free. So
hey. I think our show the year the Avs won the Cup was like 3 hours after.
You get into it and then you. Yeah, I mean, you can't not. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Right.
You can't not hide it. You in the locker room. You interview the guys. You fall in love with the guys.
Yep.
You do.
It's family.
Family.
It is family. Like, it's family in a lot of sense. It's family for fans. It's family for the chat. It's family for us.
Yeah.
We are family, except when Yaya's like helping us out. He's not family. Kidding. But you know what I mean? Like, and it is, and it's a brotherhood. It's a sisterhood. It's a community, right? You know. And I think we live it. I love it. I haven't worked for teams. This is as close as you're going to get, and it's almost the same, and actually worse in a sense, because you get to openly talk about it. Where, you know, just driving home and talking about yourself.
You celebrate and you suffer with the fans. That's what we're doing.
This is great.
Heck
you know,
yeah.
and again, people say biased. I don't say biased. I say you're rooting for that team, because I know you root for them, and I know you make your videos, and I know you make your stuff, and I know we comment on stuff, and it's like AJ writes about something, and it's like, at the end of the day, you're rooting for the team to win. We don't want them to lose. So does that make you biased? No, it makes you part of the community, part of chat, part of everything. And I think that's the beauty of being part of this. It's something special, and I'll say it again. I know you lived it through the tough years. Were you there? But AJ did.
You know, did some independent years in 16, 17.
That's true. That's right.
You know,
which is not fun.
Different vibe.
It's not fun. We are lucky here to get those elite, world-class freaking players, world-class management. That is not being biased. That is not being homers. It's the truth. It's a fact. And we get to see it day in and day out. So, of course, you root for them, and we're looking forward to it again.
Look, I've always said about this job, yes, I grew up an Avalanche fan. I'm still an Avalanche fan to this day. But if you're going to do this job where you create content and you make content like that, you need to be able to do one of two things. Either set aside your bias, be honest, and give realistic what actually happened. Or if you can't do that, at very least be willing to admit when you're being biased about something.
Sure.
That's it. So.
Yeah. And I think the best way to cover what you're going to get from me is that you're going to get the hockey side of it, but you're also going to get the understanding fan side of it. And, you know, my goal is to talk to people, not at them. And, you know, reach out to me. Come say hi when you see me at the rink. Chat me up. I'm happy to do it. I love it. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. I love talking about hockey, and I love talking about hockey with people who love hockey. And even if you don't love hockey and you're new to this and you just want to catch up and, hey, what is offside? Okay, I'll tell you.
We're not sure sometimes, though. We're still confused.
Yeah, I mean, don't ask me what goalie interference is on goals, because I've been doing this for a long time. I have no clue.
There's not a single person in the hockey world that knows what that is.
So don't ask me what that is. My guess rate on that is probably not good. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm thrilled to look forward to it, and I think it's a perfect spot for me because I like the interaction with the fan base. I love being part of a team, and I mean, how cool is this? What an incredible studio at the DNVR bar on Colfax, and just it's just cool. Everything's really cool. Setup is great.
All right. I have to ask a question.
Oh.
And I'm sorry to one of you. Who's the better hockey player today?
Oh, it's still him.
Still him?
It is 100% still him.
Buddy, I stink.
No, that is not true. I've seen you move. He can still. Eric LeClaw can still shoot the puck.
Here's what I'll say. I was playing a few years back, and my left knee's giving me a lot of trouble right now, and my right hip. But a few years back, I was playing in one of those beer leagues, and I can't move, and I couldn't move, but I could still pass. You know what I mean? Like, it's still fine guys. And one guy was like, "Did you ever play hockey, man?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Where?" And I was like, "Oh, I played here." He's like, "Where here?" And I'm like,
Here.
Here. He's like, "That's what I thought." You know what I mean? I was like, "Okay, I still got it." You know what I mean? But I can't move. You know, I can't. I'm being honest. I can't move.
Hands
I can't.
though. So when we coached the Thunderbirds together a few years ago. We'd have a thing most of the time at the end of a road or right before a road trip where we'd have a shootout. I forget what we call it.
Yeah, like whatever. Orange and the lemon.
Orange and lemon, right? And the guy that loses had to pack the bus, do that kind of thing.
Eat the lemon.
If
you win, you eat the orange.
Wear the orange bucket. Yeah, okay. So we would jump in on it as coaches against these 15, 16-year-old kids.
I can still do now. Can't.
Hands for days.
I can't score against my son. That bothers me. So I'm being honest. Not because he's good, because I stink.
You and Macklin Celebrini both.
Yeah. Well, Matt can. I can't.
Yeah.
And not because he's good, it's because I stink.
Well, we'll have to load you up with some Aleve, and we'll do a DNVR on ice skills competition or something.
We got to get out there.
Actually, we should do that. That'd be fun.
We got to bring a camera and get out there.
I'll make you both look great. So just put me
let's do
next
it.
to you.
Rudo's
we'll
a
be
tough
good.
grinder.
Let's do it.
We're
That
gonna
and
bring
golf
Yaya
are my happy
too.
places.
I could barely skate backwards, so you guys got me beat.
We'll get you. We'll get you going. We can give you a couple lessons.
A lot of guys in the NHL can't skate backwards.
just
You'd be
gonna say,
surprised.
As long as I play forward,
Think of a
we're
few
good.
guys. And maybe,
Hey, you want a fun practice in the NHL? And coach is like, forwards, you guys go play D, and we do a ray, and it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing because we're like, whoa, you stink. You know what I mean? Like,
I did get on the ice a few weeks ago, and I played hockey for a long time. I still skate, but I had my skates sharpened somewhere where I hadn't done it before.
oh,
And they were too sharp.
oh,
And I went to stop like I normally would. I didn't normally after like I get my skates sharpened, I'd give it a little test just to see if the edge is right. Oh my gosh.
No bueno.
I blew myself up. Oh my gosh, I yard sailed. I went to stop and I like
Just caught an edge.
ass over TKO.
all right, we got to come up with some content.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
gotta
we'll
get
do
on
something.
that.
Yeah, we'll
do
have
something.
some fun on the ice.
It'll be
I'll play
fun.
crossbar against anybody. You go with your sneakers and you shoot like no problem.
Three
Buddy,
posts.
If I hit the net
Three posts,
at
whatever you
all,
wanna
it's a
call.
good day. All right.
All right, I'm in.
I'll
Can
be the
Yaya
cameraman,
skate?
maybe.
Yaya skate?
He'll
Yaya's,
learn. He'll learn.
All right, we'll put you on
Yaya's like
skates
a-
with a camera. You'll be
I
fine.
can't swim and I can't skate.
Oh, you're good. The ice is frozen. You don't have to worry
you
about the
don't need
swimming
to
part.
swim.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, and Tim, they can beat a quarterback on the power play. They'll
There
be
we
good.
go. Now we're talking.
Oh, beer league team suggested by Brecken. I like the name of that.
Yes.
I like that. I thought
All right, we need
that's a good
about
thought.
15 more guys.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Let's go. Get on chat. Let's get some people from chat.
some
Let's
going,
go.
man.
Dude, I'm sure
DNVR
people.
beer league
I know a
team. That'd be
handful of
actually
people that would get in.
Let's
I
do
know.
it.
That'd be fun.
I'm in. I got to get in shape. Talking about UC
There you
health
go.
earlier.
Yeah,
You said
little,
like,
Coach Prime.
I got to
beer
get
league
on
team.
this thing. Maybe if I challenge myself and I go live and say it, like maybe I won't freaking lie to myself or cheat. You
You might
know?
have to go a little bit light on the beer league team to get in shape, though.
That's fine. Just Diet Coke. Get away from the Diet Coke.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to ask you, Giz, but is there anything you want to talk yourself up a little bit so all the people getting to know you?
No. I'm super happy to be here. I'm just thrilled to be a part of this. I've been watching, like I said the other day, watching from afar, and now getting a chance to be a part of it and dive back in and tell some really cool stories and bring you some really interesting features and bring you some visiting players too and give you the opposite side of the perspective, not just what's happening on the Avs side. I think for me is super exciting, and I think that yin and the yang is going to be a new experience for fans. And I know a bunch of the boys on the team, and it'll be fun to pull some cool stuff out of them and ride the highs and lows of what I think is going to be a really great season for them. But then just having the opportunity to work with you all. I mean, your hockey knowledge is it's intense. It blows me away every time.
Sometimes I get it right.
It's pretty
Occasionally.
good.
Sometimes I
Great.
say some stupid stuff.
It's
but-
pretty good, man. I'll tell you, you pulled some stuff out from places I was like, where is that name coming from the other day? The guy was like, I don't get intimidated at all talking about hockey until this last little I mean, I was
Rudo
like,
trivia's tough,
what is
for
this?
sure.
You
Rudo's
scared,
trivia's tough.
you scared the crap out of me with the draft thing. I was like, good Lord, I don't know if I can pull any of these names out. But
That's off-season meme content. That's all that is.
But just in the few days that I've been here and the few weeks that I've been around, I mean, this whole team is really cool and really special, from the leadership here on down to everybody coming up with the cool graphics and the content and the producers, Tiff and Yaya, Alyssa, everybody. And then honestly, back with E. I mean, he's been one of my dearest, closest friends for coming up on 10 years now, and his family is family, and one day we'll tell the story, but I've literally come running for his son at one point when he needed me.
Yep.
And it's that's just, for me, it's family. I love family. Family means everything to me. It's a phrase I use quite a bit, FME. And I think that is important, and this is what that feels like for me. So just thrilled to be here, thrilled to hang out with you all. So make sure you guys let me know, throw me questions, ask me anything. Please come up and say hi. Don't be shy. I'm not. And just a warning, I'm a hugger. So you got that going
Hugs
for
coming
you.
out.
I'm a big hugger.
Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter at Nick Gismondi. He'll be our eyes, ears, boots on the ground. He's the guy that's going to be talking up to everybody, getting you guys interviews. So go follow him. Follow us, DNVR _Avalanche 2. We are wrapping up today's show. It should be a fun rest of the week, though. We have some way too early awards predictions coming later this week. And then next week, it really starts. We start really talking Avalanche hockey for real starting next week. So, going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this season. I hope all of y'all watching are too. We do have one super chat to get to just before we get out of here from Melanie, who says, welcome. Hope you all are having a great summer. Counting the days till the season starts.
Same, Melanie. Same.
Yep.
Hope you're
Can't
having a
come
great
soon
summer,
enough.
too.
I'm ready.
Looking forward to it.
I'm ready to talk Avalanche prospects for a week where, I mean, I love the Avs prospects. It's always fun for me, but I know a lot of people are like, we care about 3 of these guys. So
It's all right. It's all right.
we'll talk about them a lot, I bet. We appreciate y'all. We are out of here.
We all silly like the mayor.